Welcome back to the Mina and I Show featuring Lenny, Divisional Round Recap Edition. As always, I am joined by Domonique Foxworth of the Domonique Foxworth Show. We're going to talk about the Divisional Round games. I am going to do all of the coaching hires and firings later this week when Ben Solak and I preview the championship round, because that's only 2 games. And there's a lot of news, a lot of coaching news. I will ask you this question, Domonique. Of all of the things that have happened, and just to recap, John Harbaugh to the Giants, Kevin Stefanski to the Falcons, Sean McDermott fired, on top of course, Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh being fired, Jeff Hafley to the Dolphins, Robert Saleh to the Titans. Which surprises you the most? Which was the piece of news of everything I just said when it came across your feed, your eyebrows actually lifted several millimeters?
I mean, I think the McDermott one was the biggest, and like given the way that game came, or the result of the game happened, and how quickly it happened, it felt like he was coaching for his job in a way that we didn't anticipate before. Once he got past the walk around, I think a bunch of us were like, and then Harbaugh took the job with the Giants. All right, he's safe. And then it seemed as if it was almost immediately afterwards that they were like, there's obviously something else going on there. We'll probably find that out sooner or later. You might already know. You're more well connected than me, but
we're starting to get the Brandon Beane side. I saw a report. Despite their excellent roster, I was like, is the excellent roster in the room with us right now? Because we'll talk about that game, and we'll talk about Josh Allen and the mistakes and whatnot. But like, it's if McDermott had been fired after the 13-second game, I think we would have all said, I don't think he did anything wrong in this game. And that's what's so puzzling. Okay, we're going to go sequential backwards, though, and start with the Sunday night game and then work our way back. We're going to start with Rams-Bears, which ended up being a thriller. Probably the best game of the weekend, wouldn't you say?
Oh, it was so fun. And I mean, I guess we don't have to let that Caleb touchdown pass die, but my feeling after that game was like, it's so sad that we're going to forget that pass at some point, because, he lost. Had he won that game, it'd be a lot more a legendary thing that we remember forever. But the good thing about Caleb is he'll do it again 4 more times next year.
Yes, exactly. He seems to come up with, he literally did it twice in the playoffs. He had 2 insane throws, which kind of makes it hard, like, because when I went back and rewatched the game, I remembered that he struggled. It's funny because you forget the struggles because he does the awesome stuff, which is kind of at this moment the Caleb Williams experience. Before we get to that side of the ball, though, I want to talk about the Rams offense, because I think this was by far the more surprising part in this game. And this is the other thing. If they had pulled this off and won, I would have been talking about Dennis Allen painting a masterpiece, because this is what the thing I've been waiting so excitedly to talk to you about this. Until the 4th quarter, against DB blitzes, anytime Dennis Allen sent 1 or more corners, Matthew Stafford in 7 dropbacks did not complete a pass and was sacked 3 times. So, Domonique, I went back and looked over the course of the season, and I narrowed it down to when defenses sent 1 corner, or 1 DB. So, which he faced a lot. I think it's because the Rams play out of so many condensed formations, which are vulnerable to that. So when Matthew Stafford this season versus a DB pass rusher, 33rd in off-target rate, 33rd in completion percent, and this is 70 plus dropbacks, by the way, so it's not like nothing. 25th in yards per dropback. Did Dennis Allen just like figure out the formula? Because it took them like much of the game to figure this out.
Which is the confusing part, because one, it wasn't something unconventional and unusual. And clearly you pointed out that they had trouble with it before, so it's something that they should be aware of. And on top of those 2 things, the third thing is they did it last week a bunch, and it was designed really, the Bears that is, I thought it was like more to kill the run, because early in the first half they couldn't stop the run because they couldn't set the edge well. So they started setting the edge, and it also had impact on the pass. And like I could theorize that oftentimes the DBs are not accounted for in the protection. So it's like the quarterback has to account for that and make a decision there. And with a like limited athleticism for an older Matt Stafford, that's something that could challenge in the conditions on top of it. But you would think that this team with a veteran quarterback, you might have seen a DB blitz once or twice with an offensive mastermind. You might have been able to handle that. I like you, I watched it and there was nothing about it that seemed like, oh, it's because they did it this way. It really
Yeah.
confused them.
I mean, they did pair it, I thought, with some smart, like they would have all the linebackers walked up and then try to drop them to take away some of the middle of the field throwing lanes.
But that's not new, Mina. Like
No,
I
it's not.
agree
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. No. I'm just
that's
like I'm just saying it wasn't just like, oh, let's set a corner. Like I thought
yeah,
the
right.
coverage until the end, when on not one but two possessions, Dennis Allen decided, cool, I'm going to send out all out blitz and have my safety play 15 yards off of Puka Nacua. Which was, I was so upset watching it back because I was like, until this moment, Dennis Allen was amazing in this game, and I was ready to praise him. But like, if Matthew Stafford was clearly off this game, I'm making him beat me.
Right.
I'm not trusting Kevin Byard to close on Puka Nacua in space.
Unfair. Unfair to ask him to do it.
But anyways, but
can I say one more thing about that? Yeah. Is like, you notice this, and I'm sure you watch enough football to notice this, but I'm not sure if everyone else who's listening or watching this know that on those pivotal downs, you almost like you see teams run a small percentage of zero blitz.
Yeah.
But on important fourth downs or third and goal situations, you almost exclusively see those zero blitzes. I remember there were a few years ago, we like hyper criticized the Jets for doing that in like a situation where they had to stop them. You remember that? And they end up giving up a touchdown. I'm sorry, it just popped in my head. I don't remember all the details, but just generally, it's something that I know at this point teams are aware of. And then on top of it, it's slow. So like whenever I've been on a team that like specializes in zero blitz, I cared less about the disguise and more about the time. And I hate having guys come from off. There was another game this weekend. There was a big zero blitz. Oh yeah, there was the Texans game. There's zero blitz. We'll get to all that, but I just think it's an important thing that we see happen multiple times a year. It happened multiple times this weekend, where on those pivotal downs, you don't want to give the quarterback time to think about it. So you zero blitz, and it puts you in a compromised position.
We'll get to the Texans one, but yeah, like but also if you're gonna zero.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like it's, like it's live by the sword, die by the sword. But what you're doing is you're dying by the sword, but also opening up your belly so that the sword could, I don't know.
Because you think that you're going to trick them. Like somehow they're not going to expect zero in this moment.
You don't think so I'm going to Puka Nacua?
Yeah, I'm going to creep into zero and we're going to blitz off of Puka. Like that's to me is...
Okay, so what these DB blitzes though did effectively was completely nuked the Rams under center play action pass. Yeah. Under center in this game, Matthew Stafford was 1 for 10. Just insane. Yeah. He did not complete a play action pass. Again, this is Matthew Stafford. This is the best play action team in the NFL. I thought so. Stafford he was off. There were also some of these, going back and watching all of them. Some of them were the offensive line. I thought the right tackle got beat a lot. Some of it was just Stafford missing throws. He had guys open and missed them. But it was a weird game from him. It was a weird game from Sean McVay. But just run the damn ball. Yeah. What are we doing in the first half? It's snowy. Your quarterback's inaccurate. It's the Bears. Run the ball. I was perplexed.
Somebody has to interview all these coaches at some point about this. Like, and I guess they'll lie, but it's just it's a constantly recurring theme, right?
The running, going away from the run with some of these guys. Yeah. It sounds so simplistic, and it is overly simplistic to some degree, but I don't think it's wrong in this case. I guess to put a pin on it, obviously we're going to preview the game. My final question, and then by the way, it's like overtime, and Stafford's in the gun. It's like, okay, cool. He's just like dicing them up. And some of that had to do with the coverages, but just to spin it forward, was there anything from this Rams offensive performance that made you worried about them? You don't have to talk about the Seahawks matchup. We'll get into that, but talk about like what you saw.
I mean, we've seen
2 weeks now. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm less. There was nothing that jumped out to me that concerned me. So like the issues in this game, which to your point was like they struggled with play action and Matt Stafford was inaccurate. Like, yeah, that's concerning. But is that like a thing that you can hang your hat on. Like, I think that was kind of the story
Yeah.
of it, and it's like, that doesn't worry me. What worries me more, and I know not that I would take any steam away from your preview because you and Ben like do a ridiculous deep dive, but we've seen them against the Seahawks team. So rather than being concerned about how they're playing, I'd be more concerned about them seeing the Seahawks again. They had answers against them last time, but it's
Yeah.
still that Seahawks defense is constructed in such a way to win in that division, and they've done it.
I do want to give some credit to the Bears defense. I mean, I know I give credit to Dennis Allen, but I thought the DBs were excellent in this one. Brisker played out of his mind. And look, I was hard on the Bears defense this year, but a lot of that was because of injuries and it just felt like they were never all healthy at the right time and playing together. I do think they need to add to this pass rush next season. And like this, they're in a great spot, obviously, moving forward because of the coach and what we've seen from the quarterback. Let's talk about the quarterback. So like I said, it's hard to kind of describe this game or put a grade on it or he missed some throws he should have made. He made some throws that no people on earth can make. Like, Domonique, how do you put that in a sentence?
It's the most boomy and busty quarterback that we've ever seen in the history. I don't know, like that.
Right now, though.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess in the course of one game, I guess is my point. Because normally when we talk about it, it's guys who have high end, and like even on the Josh Allen roller coaster early in his career, it would be bad games and then great games. It wouldn't be bad games and then clutch games. And it's odd that it's always at the same time, that he just figures it out. And I want to be able to like say that it's when he's no longer worried about coaching and he could be free. But like, no, it's happening in the course of natural plays. So like I ordered the plays by EPA in that specific play. And the top like 3 to 5 plays are Caleb passing the ball, and the bottom are Caleb passing the ball. It's ridiculous. And then if you put into it like the probabilities of those plays because of how unlikely they are, I'm sure would be even more extreme.
Yeah, it's I think like important to remember that this is year 2, new offense, young quarterback. Obviously the arrow is pointing up. But it was truly a, like you said, highs and lows performance.
I'll say one more little thing about Caleb that I think is interesting is we normally think about a quarterback like that and we are concerned about turning down the aggressiveness in order to reduce the mistakes.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like those things are connected, if that makes sense. Because I don't often see his terrible.
Yes. Totally
right?
agree. Totally
You know
agree.
what I mean?
He's not
So,
turning
like,
the ball over by trying to force throws. He's just missing throws.
Yeah. And that
the throw to Odunze, or it was DJ Moore, pardon me.
Yeah.
Not Odunze, because it was also partially on DJ Moore, the interception that ended the game. It was, I mean, but that's been the case with them, I feel like, since Caleb started, is like it's just never felt like him and DJ Moore were on the same page. But
the 4th down interception was just these are in structure. And that's the part that I think is interesting. And that's like, again, Josh Allen is the best comparison for this, but Josh Allen wasn't like that.
No, he was the doing too much. I love that point because I think coming out of college, that was like Caleb Williams doing too much, but these picks are not coming. Like the crazy throw he made would have been that was the throw everybody said, not everybody, but some people said like he's not get away with that in the NFL. Buddy, he did. He has multiple times. However, some of the misses, like you said, they're more in structure. Totally agree. That's a great point. The other thing I wanted to note about the Bears is 2 of their 3 worst games running the football in terms of success rate on the backs were in the playoffs, which I thought was a big part of what, so last week and then this week. And some of that is about the Rams, who I'll talk about in a second. But I do think this run game was really dominant during the regular season. And you saw that dominance erode. And it wasn't even like they were facing a lot of stacked boxes. It just kind of regressed a bit at the end of the year.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know what you attribute that to. It's not something that I've studied necessarily because it's not like a significant injury. I mean, and I thought their run game, maybe this is part of it. I thought their run game was, I don't want to say scheme dependent, but I was very impressed with the scheme of the run game. You look back at the not Seahawks. You look back at the Eagles last year, who had a dominant rushing attack. It was not. It was like, look, we are bigger and better than you. We don't need angles. I wonder. I haven't looked at it, so I'm not making that projection. I don't know if you've taken a look, but why it would take a step back in the playoffs, like a huge step back.
Yeah. You know what I'd like to do is break it down by red zone and where they are on the field.
Yeah.
But I going back and watching like the run stuffs, and like there was that 1st and 5 sequence at the goal line where it's like they just got stuffed over and over, and then they had to throw on 4th down. I just came away really impressed by the Rams defenders, to be honest. Like, I thought, I mean, the safeties in this were excellent. And then, of course, you remember Darius Williams and Quentin Lake tag teamed one of those attempts. Cam Curl was phenomenal in this game. Obviously, he had the pick, but I thought he was great against the run as well. The DTs played great. The backers, Omar Spates, had an unbelievable game. So I think coming out of this game, generally, Domonique, you know, we talked about some of the problems with the Rams offense, but I came away from this feeling a lot better about the Rams defense than I did in the wild card round, because this felt like a bit of a get back on track game versus what we saw against the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. The Rams defense, they also corners played better than I think any of us expected. So like to get a plus at that position, which is like the main position that you were concerned about, was huge, especially against this team, which like I know some of the conversation for the Bears going forward is like, will they be able to get back here? Like with the low cost talent that they have at tight end, receiver, and quarterback, like it feels like they got money to spend, and maybe Pace will draft well on defense too. They could turn into something special real quick.
Yeah, I think coming off of this Bears defensive performance, spinning this forward, how well the DBs played, how good of a job I thought Dennis Allen did until the very end.
Yeah.
It does feel like the arrow is not only pointing up, but also there's a path that's very clear. Just add pass rush, man. Like and like free agents.
And Dennis Allen knows that.
Yeah, Dennis Allen knows that. And I think I'll be very optimistic about this unit next season with some additions. So sorry, Bears fans, that's brutal, but I have a lot to be excited about moving forward. The Rams advance. We'll talk about that game later. All right. Texans, Patriots. Tough one for your girl and the cast of NFL Live.
That was not tough. It's kind of cool.
It was funny.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
You know what? People ask me, like, how would you do that? Okay, so I'm going to take you behind the curtain a little bit. So we don't talk about our picks. A producer asks us, and we don't want to pick all favorite. I'm not making excuses here. I'm just legitimately why you think. I thought legitimately this game was like, and anyone who watches this podcast knows that Bill and I went back and forth and back and forth. I thought this was the closest one. It was clearly not, by the way. So I was wrong in thinking it was a 50-50 game. But I think each and every one of us thought we were going to be the only person picking the Texans. That's why we had such an incredible, like an insane reaction, because we all thought we were being freaking cute. And then, I think,
I mean, I assume everybody.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I assume everybody. You didn't say it on here, but I guess I assume if people listen to you, they know why this is such a big deal, because like you guys all picked the Texans, and the graphic went up. You were all wrong, and not only did the fans dunk on you, but Cardi B pulled you guys out and dunked on the whole crew.
We played that on NFL Live, and my first reaction was, I was like, Cardi B knows I exist. That's a win. And Marcus Spears was, Cardi B doesn't know any of us are.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Somebody sent that to her, was like, yell about this. And she nailed it.
Okay. I mean, we just got to talk about CJ Stroud. That's so brutal, dude. You know, I think what's getting kind of lost in this, because everybody just does box scores, and like, you know, people talk about all the boneheaded turnovers, and some of them weren't even like Hutchinson tipped a pick. And I think what struck me the most watching Domonique wasn't just the making bad plays worse, which is what we saw in the previous round, but he also missed a lot of throws. I think that's kind of been lost in it, like just simple outs. And in fact, a lot of his throws in this game were outbreaking, which is not the way he wants to play. And you really saw the absence of Nico Collins and then Dalton Schultz leaving the game. This is not to make excuses for him, but when people are like, how did the hell did this happen? I think what we have in him now very young still, but what he has shown to be is a quarterback who will make a bad situation worse. I
Right.
think that's something we have seen over the course of his career at times.
Yeah, I think that at this point in the week, it's not helpful for us to continue to say, "Hey, he just sucked." I think,
Yeah.
like at this point, people are interested in like a deeper look and explanation of what's going on. And I think you're right. Yeah, the interceptions and some of the turnovers, and this was true for all of the games. When we get to Josh Allen's game, we can get to that too. Some of the turnovers aren't on them. That doesn't
Yeah.
matter. In particular, in this game, one of the things that I'm always reminded of is in every Super Bowl run, no matter how great the quarterback is, there's a game, sometimes two games, where somebody else wins the game for them. And then we forget about it and talk
Yes.
about the run as if they were incredible. This was a game where both teams had an opportunity to steal one, or both quarterbacks had an opportunity to steal one, and Drake May did. Because, and I guess maybe you cannot give him credit for that throw that he made to Diggs or that throw to Booty, because they both were incredible catches. But like his team, as crazy as it sounds, his team lifted him just a little more, and he
Yeah.
made fewer mistakes. But his team lifted him just a little more than the Texans, despite the fact that defense was so fun and crazy and
I'm so
created
sad we don't get
sacks.
to, and also I mean, the will on will crime in this game was, we'll get to that
Oh,
side of the ball and Drake
yeah.
May, and 'cause watching it, I had a lot of, yeah, I think to go back
Right.
to the
I'm
Texans,
sorry. I'm sorry.
your
I
general
jumping.
point though is when I watching it back on offense, the thing that struck me was how bad everybody was.
Right.
Like, the whole thing was just a disaster, and the Patriots were blitzing the hell out of him and stacking the box, so you can't really blame Woody Marks for his ability to run the ball, but the pass catchers were not winning. They were dropping passes as well, wide open passes, tip and picks. The
Mhm.
offensive line was a train wreck, and then Stroud, so it was like it was like a bad offense,
Yeah.
and then Stroud made it work. It's kinda like what we saw with Geno in Vegas this year, right? Or
Yeah.
at times where it's like, "This is bad." Like,
Mhm.
don't get it twisted. This is not a good situation for quarterbacking.
Right.
The
And he's not
quarterback,
helping.
made it worse. And I think what they have to decide is, like, what are the broader conclusions we're drawing from this? And that's what's always hard with quarterbacks. I know right now everyone on the internet hates every quarterback, and we're supposed to yell about how bad they are, and that's
Mm.
what everybody wants. But,
Yeah.
like, it's a really difficult and complicated position, and it's
Yeah.
very contextual, and his context was awful, and
Yeah.
that's not making excuses to acknowledge
Yeah.
it. It's just trying to evaluate what the hell happened.
The
Um,
one the
yeah.
one person you left out in the criticism is the offensive coordinator. And I know they got rid of Slowick, and they moved on and it didn't get much better. It was driving me crazy because it was clear that this team, the Texans, rely a lot on boots. And it was clear that the Patriots were like, we're gonna kill the boot.
Yeah.
And rather than on first down,
Calling it, he kept calling it.
yeah, rather than answer that with like a stretch wind back or I don't know, a wham, something that uses that to their advantage, they kept running the boots, and then eventually they gave up on boots altogether and they just got in shotgun. And like your quarterback's struggling, the game's not out of reach. They're in shotgun on first down, telegraphing that they're passing the ball, and like not, I don't know, it just seemed
Oh,
like
and
they're
and then they're like, "Wow, Xavier Hutchinson and, like,
yeah.
Jalen Noel are losing to not Jalen Noel, but, Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis are strapping
Yeah.
our guys up." Of course they are. They're better than you can't win.
Especially when
Um,
you're telegraphing that you're getting a shotgun, and
yeah.
I understand that the boot may not be there, but don't run a naked boot. Put somebody on and block it, and or do a play action and like a fake boot and pull up in the pocket. They were like, all right, you're gonna kill our boot. We'll get in shotgun. Our quarterback's playing poorly. We're gonna get in shotgun on first down and just kill all our drops. One more thing, complain about their offense. I'm sorry.
No.
This sounds stupid, but like the bad thing about interceptions or turnovers in general is that they normally happen in really bad parts of the field. So you're either about to score and you don't score, or you're way backed up and you're giving points to the other team. The other thing that happened in this game that falls in that category is the very first drive, the the Pats came out there and were obviously giving up. Like they just weren't trying. They're like, we're gonna run, draw, whatever, screen. We're just trying to feel this out. They punt it away. CJ Stroud has a first down, hits Christian Kirk in his chest, drops the ball, turnover, punt it back. They go right down the field and score on them. And that was like, to me, was like a microcosm for the whole game. It's like you guys dropped the opportunity the defense
Yeah.
continued to give you.
Yeah, no, I'm looking back on my notes, and then the next drive was the one where the zero call where he hit
Yeah.
Diggs,
No,
which
yeah, that's the next drive where they move
oh, it was
right down
Pop
the
that
field.
was Diggs, right? Who he hit on
Uh,
the slant
yeah,
versus
it was
Bullock.
Pop.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's Pop. Yeah, because he hit it. They ran like slant flat, like
Yeah.
over. He hit Diggs on a slant on that same drive, and then another great drive. Where okay, well, hold on. I want to get Drake May. I have one
Sorry.
more thought on Stroud before we move on, and I think like because I think I think the Texans and their off season and what they have to do with them, it's a conversation for another day. But I think the thing that if I came away from this off season with like an overarching thought on him, he has to learn how to let plays die, or this is never gonna. I don't know what it is mentally this year where he thinks that he should recover a fumble and try to make a play, or he should win the you talking about the boots. The play that I thought perfectly encapsulated the Texans offense, and I posted this one was it's an under center boot. It backed up in their own territory.
Mm-hmm.
Milton Williams, who was extraordinary in this game, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
just immediately rushes the left tackle and knocks him back. He
Yeah.
clips the backup tight end coming across. So because the tight end falls, Chason gets a free run at Stroud, and then Stroud, for some godforsaken reason, decides to throw it up, and Marcus Jones returns
It
it.
was bad because I said last week after they lost that game was like, don't worry. He won't do those things again that he
Yeah.
did twice in the Steelers game. He did the exact same thing. This time it was an interception instead of a fumble, but it was the exact same thing.
I will say, obviously, the competition was not particularly impressive, particularly at receiver. Talked about the corners, but we've now got 2 straight weeks where the Patriots defense has looked dominant.
Mm-hmm.
And they, this happens in the postseason. They're just healthy at the right time, man. Like Williams looks unbelievable. He was the best player on the field, I thought, on that side of the ball. But like Chason, who the hell noticed even when they signed Clavon
Yeah,
Chason
it was
this
awesome.
offseason? Tonga was great against the
Oh,
run.
it's taking you too long to get to the man that you really should be talking about. Christian Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez.
He was awesome, man. He was awesome. I mean, I know the receivers were not too much of a threat, but Christian Gonzalez, I thought was
He was kicking ass.
It was incredible. He caused the fumble.
Davis was really good too, though.
Yeah, he got 2 picks.
This is what we thought it would look like this offseason. We're like, ooh, they got the 2 best man corners in the. It was really, really impressive performance from that defense, and yeah, that's what it is in the postseason, man.
Mm-hmm.
They got their guys back in time, and they're playing like it. Okay, so we talked a little bit about Drake May. This was an interesting. So we always say this with the Texans defense: you got to grade everything on a curve because of the level of difficulty, and that's you said it, I think, well, but that's how I felt watching him. I was like, okay, this is really hard, and first of all, he got to stop fumbling. That's just he has to hold on to the football because now that's maybe his only real flaw right now or over the course of the season.
Yeah,
but in key moments, his playmakers made plays. The Diggs touchdown, the booty catches, and he was accurate. And I thought, given the level of competition and the level of difficulty, they weren't running the ball particularly well either. I thought he had some really impressive moments in this game. The drive that ended in the Diggs touchdown was fantastic. And like, look, for all of the talk about Drake May and the soft schedule that he's faced, and people are like, oh, the Patriots get to play Jarrett Stidham again. Set aside the opponents. Defensively, he has faced the Chargers, the Texans. He's about to face the Broncos and potentially the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. This man is facing a gauntlet. And I think given that, he's been pretty damn impressive for his first postseason so far.
Yeah,
I ahead of myself with the
I would
if it happens.
I agree with everything you said up into the dam. I think the dam is what threw me off. Pretty okay. Damn impressive is a stretch. Like that's a stretch. Like I think
who's been good against the Texans though? Come on.
Yeah. That's fair. It's fair.
Come on.
It felt like I think I used the analogy that it was like an 8th grader taking calculus. And it does feel like where it's just like panicky and it's like you're taking a multiple choice test. He got it right. He guessed A, B, C, D and got it right a couple times. But the to me at least, this falls in the category of one of those games, and you could say it about last week too. One of those games that the defense wanted for him. Like there was not, and I guess that is to be expected against this team, but like overall, I would say that he was a net positive, and I guess it depends on how much credit you give to him for the accuracy for the booty throw, because he threw it in the only place that he could throw it, because Booty wasn't open. Booty made a ridiculous catch. The Diggs throw also, like he threw it in a really tight window, and Diggs made a tough catch. Those were good plays. He didn't completely kill his team, but he had the turnovers, the fumbles. So I don't know. I think he was good enough, but I'm not right home about how Drake May had his coming of age moment.
This is not a game that anybody will remember from him in the grand. No, I'm just not.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, and I voted for him MVP. I'm going to talk about that. I'm obviously very high on the young man, but this isn't like one we're going to. I'm just saying, like, when you consider the level of competition, which has to, you know, it matters a great deal, because that defense has made a lot of really good quarterbacks look really bad, and he didn't look really bad. So
he was very fortunate, I think, that the Texans couldn't do anything offensively, because it gets really bad when you get down against that defense, which it was already pretty bad.
Booty and Diggs. Two things Lenny loves. I think we have to accept the possibility.
Did you waste that? Like you wasted it?
I know. I just burned it. Oh,
yeah, you gotta edit it out. Use it next week.
He might be a number one, man. Premature? Because I think it back over the course of this season.
I mean, he has the pedigree, I guess you would say. Like, it's not like he's completely come out of nowhere.
Who does he remind you of? I was thinking about this during the game. Like, who's he similar to?
He doesn't have the traits that would normally make, like, nothing seems like super fast or super explosive.
Yeah.
Like, he has more of a
like AJ Brown.
Right. He has like a Jamar Chase body style, it feels like, but he doesn't have the like actual running back ability of Jamar Chase.
Maybe like Cortland Sutton a little bit. Thinking about who they're playing next week.
Yeah,
a little bit of Cortland Sutton in him.
Yeah, that's nice, not bad.
He's only, but here's the crazy thing. Yeah, he's not even 6 feet.
Yeah, he's not that tall.
Terrible comp.
I mean, I think it's not a terrible comp because of the contested catches and the way that he plays. Yeah. I guess Cortland Sutton, and it's also just a function of that offense, is that it's a lot of deep shots.
He's got great hands. 6th round draft pick.
Wasn't he like highly recruited or something though? Like
there was some I forget what happened with him. Yeah. It wasn't like I don't think it was anything particularly bad. It wasn't like a crime or something like that. But there was something about the pre-draft process. I've asked the LSU guys. Patriots scooping up all these LSU. Got Chase on, Booty. All right. Well, we'll talk more about the Patriots, of course, next week. Jarrett Stidham revenge game. Let's take a quick break, come back, and talk about the team that they're going to be facing, as well as the Bills. All right, we're back. Domonique, have you properly punished Josh Allen in the eyes of the world? Have you said that he is the devil and deserves nothing? That he's no longer a top 5?
Is that what's happening online these days? Gosh, yeah.
He's bad in this game.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I made the point that I made earlier. I made on Get Up this morning. It was like he had the game that all quarterbacks have on their run, and the team wasn't able to lift him in the moment where you needed someone to make those plays. And like he knows that he didn't play well enough. We all know they didn't play well enough. Yeah. I guess it's just hard for me to make like some, I don't know, give him some public, some big, like he's been awesome in the playoffs. He came up short. And it's on him for sure. However, lots of other quarterbacks do come up short in those moments. We just talked about Drake May. If Josh Allen played or Drake May played in that game, they would have lost by 50. Yeah, and
I have a take that I've been workshopping a little bit, that I think like Mahomes and Brady have completely ruined the way people think about quarterbacks and Super Bowls, and like so many great quarterbacks don't have multiple. I know that he doesn't have any, and Lamar doesn't have any, but it's like very rare for quarterbacks to be great in the postseason over and over and over. Aaron Rodgers, who's maybe the most talented quarterback I've ever seen in my life, won one Super Bowl and had numerous postseason stinkers that now people kind of like forgotten about.
Yeah.
Josh just had one. Lamar's had some. Even on his run, whatever. Anyways, point is, I find the whole discourse around this and like who gets coddled to be so insufferable and tiresome. And I know I'm talking about it here, so I'm part of the problem now. But we'll talk about the actual game. And no one who's listening to this show, the big thing online now is like, where was this for Lamar? And it's like nobody who listens to my show is going to do that to me. So, so let's talk about the Josh Allen part in the Bills offense. So look, first thing I'll say is this is not comparable to the CJ Stroud game.
No, not even
Anyways,
close.
that's also ridiculous. He missed a few throws. Obviously, the throw to Knox being the one that's being highlighted correctly because there was an opportunity there to win the game. And then the ball security, particularly the fumble. I think a big part of the problem, the fumble before the half was so dumb. The fumble after the half was just like a normal, like Bonito just. By the way, that 3-play stretch from Nick Bonito is about as impactful that you'll get from any defensive. First of all, the Josh Allen fumble before the half, which was boneheaded decision to carry it. Bad. I don't think he was trying to let out. I think it was just bad ball security. And he was swinging it around like a maniac. What a play by Nick Bonito. Rushes, tracing, reversing and catching Josh. And Nick Bonito is incredibly fast. Is so difficult. And then to get that arm in there, unbelievable. Handed his team 3 points. You come out of the half. He stuffs the run on the first. He's part of the run defense the first play. And then the second play, strip sack right away. Holy mackerel, what a player.
I think to your point, the first half fumble, nobody to blame but yourself, Josh. The second half fumble, he had just completed his drop and they had 2 guys over there to block Bonito. One of them is all-pro Deion Dawkins. Like, I guess you could argue that maybe Josh should have stepped up a little bit more because they were forcing him wide. But, like, you have to imagine that he thinks that he has time there. I don't really blame him for that fumble. He has a little bit more time.
So quick.
He did, and he went around. Was it Shakir? I think he went around Shakir.
Yeah, I think Shakir.
Yeah, and then didn't he? I don't even think Dawkins got a hand on him, and it caused that fumble. And that's like again to the kind of
plays too. Defense gets paid too.
To the stupid point I made earlier is like both of those fumbles are immediate points for the other team. And that's just, no matter whose fault it is, it's incredibly difficult to come back on in those situations.
I'm looking at so the kind of one of the big stories of the game was that he went 0 for 9, was it, on deep balls in this game? It was failed to complete any of his 9 deep balls. Yeah. And like going back and rewatching them, it was a mix, man. Like some of them were on the receiver. I mean, he's throwing a freaking Brandon Cooks.
You can't even say frickin'?
Freaking. But then he underthrew like the ball that was picked, the one that was to Curtis Samuel. That was kind of weird too. Like he's got such a strong arm, but he actually underthrew a few ball, including that you could argue the interception / catch question mark. It just felt like he was off throwing deep. He missed Hardman on a throw too, I believe. I'm looking back at my notes. So it was a mix. He didn't make perfect throws or good throws in some of those cases. And also he didn't have guys who were, the wide receiver core is what it is. And the run game was okay. I mean, the thing about James Cook, he's kind of he's an incredible running back with a fumbling problem.
Yeah. Those turnovers will kill you. And I think I'm not sure what else to add to the Josh Allen conversation or the Bills offensive conversation. Like it seemed pretty straightforward. It's like it's the most simple story in football. It's you can't turn the ball over. Like that was their major problem is they turned the ball over.
Yeah, and it was what was required against this Broncos defense was for him to be a point guard. And in the moments where he was a point guard, they moved the ball on them well. Like it was like we talked about, or Ben and I talked like Bill and I talked about, pardon me, the quick game was effective. It's the flawed nature of the offense was very obvious,
Right.
and in this moment, it's honestly the same way that I have spoken about Lamar Jackson's bad playoff
Yeah.
games in the past, which is when I watch the Ravens, I'd be like, "Wow, Lamar wasn't a hero in this game, but damn, that offense has problems."
Yeah.
Watching Josh Allen this game, wow, Josh Allen made some pretty, he made bad plays in this game, but damn, that offense has problems. I just felt
Yeah.
the same, right?
Yeah, we don't have to take sides, and that's what I feel like the online conversation is about. You
And
can't.
TV,
I
dude. I've
think
seen it on
like
TV too. Like, oh, yeah.
I think that you and I mean, I can't say that I've read every tweet or listened to every minute of every podcast, but like I feel like the same like it's just like a great level of quarterback kind of benefit of the doubt that I kind of give them, and of course I'll be critical of the issues, but it's like yeah,
Yeah.
it don't mean he's great or not great. It's just like this happened, and especially for Josh, his playoff track record speaks for itself. So yeah, it's
Um,
sounds ridiculous. You said interception question mark. Are you one of these people who think that wasn't an interception? Am
no,
I
no.
okay?
But
Whew.
it was. Do you see Joe Burrow logging on for the first time in a year and a half? Have you seen that post going around to be like, it
Uh,
was obviously the correct call?
oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he
I
was
didn't
like,
see
both
that.
calls were correct. That and the Devontae Adams one.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was
I saw people trying to make the Devonte Adams thing a similar thing. It's like, no, it actually
all
wasn't
right. Look,
at all the
Broncos
same.
fans, if you're screaming the mentions here, or pardon me, Bills fans.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, you're a fan. You can be nuts, but
yeah.
other people.
Uh, I hope Bills fans, you're accept the fact that we were just tried to be a little bit more nuanced about the Josh Allen conversation before I'm
Yeah.
about to say what I'm about to say about the catch that was actually an interception. Um, Going back and rewatching it, there was one angle where you're like, oh, the you could really see the DB got his hands in
Uh-huh.
there, and the receiver Cooks did not have complete possession as he hit the ground. And as many people have pointed out, if the DB hadn't been there at all
Yeah.
and it had popped out,
Yeah.
it would have obviously not been a
Yeah.
catch. Now, that's by the letter of the law. Do I like that? Do I wish that level of scrutiny was required for a catch? Yeah, like not really. I kind of just think if a guy hits the ground with the ball, it should be. But point is, the
Yeah.
rules are what they are, and like by
Mhm.
the letter of the law, that is not a catch.
Yeah. I mean, at least for me, and maybe this is where the DB bias comes in, is like in live action, it looked like an interception. And then to me, like they hit the ground, and he immediately was it McDaniels, right? Was it that's who the
Oh, it was
quarterback?
Saquon McMillan.
I'm McDaniels.
By the way,
Saquon McMillan.
incredible hustle play by
Right.
him
And
because
they
he
were in
got
zero
beat.
coverage. It was
Yeah.
zero again. And he got beat. He got to it and made the play. He hopped up with it. It looked like an interception in slow motion. And then when they did in fast, they did a slow motion. I was like, this is gonna look like a catch. It looked like an interception there too. I just don't understand. Yeah. I mean, of course you can freeze frame it and make it look
It seemed
entirely
free.
different.
Like
Yeah.
he's on the ground holding the ball. It's like, cool. You have to hold it for
You have the
more than
possession.
a
Yeah.
fraction of a second.
Yeah.
We know this. We've talked
Right.
about this. We've talked about catches in the NFL. Now, the fact that that's required of it and it's so confusing is not fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, he wrestled, and I think honestly, like it wasn't until I saw the angle where you could see him from like the front side a little bit because I kept seeing ones from other
So
angles where I was
would
like,
you
oh,
argue this is you were saying kind of how you don't like it. Would you argue that if there's no one there, a guy clearly catches the ball and like this is survive the ground essentially. Like do you not like the survive the ground rule? So like if a guy gets his hand on the ball, both hands, clearly has possession,
yeah.
hits the ground and loses it, you would like that to be called a catch. That to me seems like it's not a catch. Like you gotta be able, and this again could be my defensive back bias. It's like you gotta
Yeah,
have possession of it. You can't let the ground dislodge it.
I guess so. But some of the moments where it doesn't survive the ground, it's not
Mhm.
like instantaneous.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like it seems like the burden of survival is too
Mhm.
high right now to
Okay.
me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like there's ones where like it's like the guy hits it, he rolls a little bit, and then the ball comes out, and I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
if it
That's
pops
fair.
right out, it's like all right, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, but
All right.
yeah, like
Cool.
but even this discussion is highlighting that how hard it is to come up with a solution here, to be honest. In any case, the Bills are in a tough spot because they need pass catchers. They need to replace a good chunk of their offensive line. Free agency. I think Edwards and McGovern, who, by the way, he got injured in this game. That was a big deal. It's their center. He's really good.
Yeah.
And then their pass rush. And that brings me to the other side of the ball. I mean, again, like I posted about this, but at one point during the broadcast, they were like, this is the number one pass defense. And I went, like, it's not the number one pass defense. Teams just don't pass on them because they have a bad run defense. And if you look at any like real metric, you see that they were like basically a slightly above average pass defense and an abysmal run defense. The pass rush was basically non-existent in this game to me. And that was, you want to talk about why and I'm not blaming Sean McDermott for that. I'm blaming Brandon Beane.
Yeah. The pass rush was non-existent. That is part of the problem. I think we talked about it last week, is like they survive with smoke and mirrors on defense. And sometimes you get burned in that way. And that happened a couple times in this game. But to me, it came down to one very big play. And it was more like it was a good play by little Jordan Humphrey and Bo Nix, like that. And I know people made a lot of Trey coming out and Dane Jackson being put in, but Dane Jackson's coverage I thought was good in that double move. That to me felt like they were 29 yards away and you get forced to a field goal, and you could tie the game up. Like that touchdown to me was so big at that point, and it was a perfect pass and a great catch. And that to me was the turning point in this game, despite all the mistakes that were made prior to that.
Yeah, a blitz because they had to blitz too, right? Yeah, because of the lack of pass rush there. Because I you're right. He didn't really get like it wasn't. I mean, Marvin Mims is really fast.
Yeah.
The Broncos it's not a top tier receiver group per se. It's not, you wouldn't put them in the top 10 or whatever, but they got speed between him and Franklin. And I'll talk about Stidham and him pushing the ball downfield next week potentially, but you saw that show up in a few big moments in this game. I think the team speed ended up being a difference. Also just, Mims was huge in this when he looked like hurt and then he wasn't. I was briefly like, ooh, that's good. That would be quietly very bad against this defense because the Bills, like you said, it was a lot of smoke and mirrors and they didn't have a lot of speed. I mean, and then the guys even got hurt in the game. You talked about Trey White, you lose Lewis. So, I mean, they'd already been down safeties, Poyer. Immediately they go after Darnell Savage. I mean, that's the other thing that we should mention about the Broncos is like, Sean Payton is really, really good at this and he will find your weakness during the game and he will immediately attack it. And the Bills had a lot of them. I don't know. I thought it was interesting that the Broncos went away from the run again and they kind of didn't run the ball effectively here. And
they multiple explosive plays too that jumped out to me, like the big plays, that touchdown and then like the dash pass throwback touchdown earlier in the game. Like it's so hard. That was something that was
the one versus Savage, the throwback,
right. Yeah, that was one against my man Darnell Savage. Maryland Terrapin, unfortunately, gets burnt in that situation. But
looking at my notes from game, so during the game I take course and I'm like, throwback Yankee concept versus Darnell Savage, and then my next note is just what the FUCK, and it was Josh Allen fumbling. I think it was right after that. I forgot. I didn't even write what happened, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. That's when that happened." Yeah.
But that's where those type of plays were when you see like the coaching stuff too. Is you need those plays. It's so hard to score in the red zone, and the Broncos know that, and you can tell that he had some plays in his pocket that was like, all right, when we get like to the 30, we got to take a shot at the end zone because getting down tight is looking like a field goal.
What did you think overall of Bo Nix in this game?
I mean, I thought his athleticism was key, honestly. Like his ability to run with the ball. I thought Bo Nix was good. He was everything that they needed him to be. I think what I I remember what game was it? There was a game early in the season when Bo Nix picked apart the defense. It might have been it was in the Packers. Yeah, it was in the
Yeah.
Packers game. And I was like, oh, we got a new Bo Nix now. We don't. He had a good game. And so he was the Bo Nix that we've seen all season, which has been enough with this defense.
Yeah, the Bills had to send a lot of pressure, and he was up and down, but he hit on some big plays, and that's kind of been the difference, I think, in the wins, and especially down the stretch, is a little bit more consistency throwing downfield, being able to punish teams. And he showed that in the biggest moment, and it's absolutely brutal. That was just what a gut punch. You win this
Yeah,
like emotional game for that to come out immediately after just horrendous news, for that to happen, by the way, like the very end of the game like
yeah,
that, just
sucks.
so brutal. The final thing I want to talk to you about before we get to Seahawks Niners, I did see some conversation about uh, the new overtime rules where both
Mhm.
teams get a possession, and the discussion over whether or not you should take the ball
Yeah,
first or second. I think more teams have taken it second
yeah,
this year. So for people to understand, the advantage of taking it first is if both sides net out, you get the third possession.
right.
If both sides don't score, right, or
Yeah,
tie.
or do so.
And
Yeah.
third possession can often end the quarter because of the length of the quarter, and then you
Mhm.
can win there. The advantage of taking it second is you can win the game. If the first team doesn't score, you can win the game. If the first team scores, not only do you have all four downs and you have to use them, so you have an informational advantage, you also have the ability to decide to go for two and end the game. Uh, Candidly, I say what I think. I don't think there's a clear right answer. I think there's a
Mhm.
million factors. How gassed is your defense? What is the weather? All this stuff matters. Obviously, it hurt the Bills here. Do you have a strong feel for what you would do in this situation?
Yeah, I'm definitely going second. It might be the old school nature in me, but actually, it might be the like more modern nature in me that we didn't talk about the Bears deciding not to go for two when they had a chance. But
Yeah.
but this is the reason why I would kick it. It's like one, like there's a good chance that you stop them and you make them punt it, you get good
Yeah.
field position. There's not as good chance they kick a field goal, and then you can go and have your choice of scoring a touchdown or not, and you have that informational advantage for fourth down. In worst case scenario is they score a touchdown. They're not going to go for two. They're going to kick the extra point, and now you have a drive where you can score a touchdown with all four downs, and you have a choice to go for two to put the game out of reach. I think playing for the third possession to me is like too far off to
Yeah,
to
right, you're
to
betting on a
yeah,
lot of things
yeah.
happening, and yeah,
And you're also encouraging yourself to not be aggressive, and that like I don't like that.
so to remind people that this is how the Seahawks won, by the way,
Yeah.
against the Rams in the regular
Mhm.
season, is they went second and went for 2 and won the game. I think the only way I would maybe, like, be a little cautious, if I felt
Yeah.
my defense really needed the
Yeah.
break, like, for whatever, maybe, like, the last drive, they were on the
Right.
field the whole time, so, feeling it out, but I tend to agree with you, especially if you have confidence in your offense, by the way. If
Right.
you really trust your quarterback, you're thinking, if you have second, no matter what, you do control
Yeah.
the game, so you have more control. Um, but I think the rule change has proven to be awesome because it introduces legitimate theory and uncertainty. Like, and I think that's a good thing. So, yeah, there you go. That was that. All right. Speaking of the Seahawks Niners, there's not much to talk about here. This is a
Yeah.
bloodbath,
Yeah.
absolute bloodbath. Um, so, by the way, it's funny watching, not funny, but I was watching Jarrett Stidham against the Niners preseason was one of
Mhm.
them. And it's like, oh, I know some of these players from the Niners regular season now because they had to play them. That's how bad the Niners were. So the one thing, so I want to start with the Seahawks defense versus the Niners offense.
Yes.
Look, so on one hand, the Niners offense was obviously banged up.
Yeah.
Kittle in this game. The defense was more banged up than the offense. Never had Ayuk or whatever. But that was the case for the whole season, right? In the 2025 season, I pulled this. I want to run this by you. Versus everyone not the Seahawks, because they played them 3 times.
Yes.
The Niners offense, with their injuries, sometimes with Mac Jones,
Mhm.
averaged zero.1 EPA per play, which is a top 5 number. They were second in success rate, dropback success rate, and third in points per game. So this was a top 5 offense this year, even with Mac Jones. Against the Seahawks in the 3 games that they played them, they had negative .18 EPA per play, which would have ranked 33rd for the course of the season.
Wow.
Under 9 points a game, which would have ranked 33rd. And they had a dropback success rate that would have ranked 20th. So this is not just about the Niners offense and injuries and whatever, because this was a top 5 offense against the rest of the league. Mike McDonald completely owned Kyle Shanahan this year.
I can't add anything to that. Like it's absolutely true, and it's deserving of some accolades, some might say, because he is the foremost offensive mind. I guess maybe McVay is also that, but like he dropped him in that division, and your job is to dominate your division. He did that defensively. He dominated his division, and it's a division that has some pretty damn good offenses in it. So yeah, like there's as much as we made of how Sam Darnold struggled against the Rams, Matthew Stafford ain't having a field day against the Seahawks. He's having a hard time too, and we saw it in this game. Kyle Shanahan is having, Mike McDonald is giving Kyle Shanahan fits in this game, and then they got down early, of course, which made it even better. Yeah. But they were never really out of it in that late that late regular season game, and they just continued to dominate everything they tried. They had a little bit of success out of empty, but they really they just felt outmatched the whole time.
On that first, was it the first drive where they had the 4th down attempt where they're with the little fake, and I was just like, oh.
It really helps that they can't run the ball either against anybody. Yeah. It's not just like
can't run the ball on anyone, but against the Seahawks, the Bucs had like a 19% success rate in this game. I mean, and it's hard to, like, the thing about, I mean, here's the other thing, Niners fans, if you're listening to you upset, I thought Brock Purdy was, like, making the most out of, like, like, every throw he made, the level of difficulty was turned up to 100. He was running for his life back there, but the guys were just blanketed. I think the coverage is a thing, too. Like, we think about the Seahawks defensive front and how good they are, for sure, but, we've seen Purdy punish people on those extended dropbacks all year, and guys were not open. It's hard to even know. Like, they were all so good. If I had to highlight anyone in this game, going back and watching, the Seahawks linebackers were amazing.
Yeah.
And I think when we think, going back to how we started this, when we talk about Kyle Shanahan, like, for so long, he made the lives of Seahawks linebackers hell. To watch them, Ernest Jones, who obviously came away with the football a few times in this one, the trade for him last season was the catalyst that kind of set all of it. And then they've added so many guys, and they already had good players. But in this game, watching him, I was thinking, like, wow, he has such a good understanding of what they want to do on offense. Even there was like one play where he got it like just over the fingertips near the beginning of the first quarter when everything kind of went down. And I mean, this is
he's obviously
really special.
Well down the list of best players on that defense, but you can see from Mike McDonald, it's not fair to say well down the list, but he's not the first, at least for me, the first, second, or third name I would say if you ask me who's the best on this defense. But you can see on this Mike McDonald system that the middle linebacker is incredibly important, and it seems like it's a bit of a key that unlocks the ability for everyone else, which, like, if he hadn't done it in Baltimore with Roquan, I would have looked at like Eamon Wari and like that versatile safety type of player as the key, which before that it was like Witherspoon, who's a corner but can go play the nickel. He's so physical, and so
this game against the run was
he's so physical,
monster.
Man. That is so physical especially when you see in the course of these games that so often the game plan is to find a way to make the free tackler the corner. Like, they're better off with just about anyone else being the free tackler than Witherspoon.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Seahawks hack, right? They have 2 DBs who
are physical and aren't liabilities in coverage.
Yeah, so, like, look, obviously the Niners were undermanned, and it really showed up on defense. I mean, this is going to sound so mean, but about halfway through this game, as I'm watching, I'm Kenneth Walker. Let's get the numbers. Oh, I didn't write them down. Okay, well, he dominated them on the ground.
Yeah.
6.3 yards per carry. Oh, no, that was just against stacked or neutral boxes.
Ooh.
All right, so he killed them on the ground. I'm watching the run game, and I'm thinking three things. One, I really love the way Kenneth Walker runs.
Yeah.
There was a touchdown where instead of trying to hit the edge, he just runs through the guy. He like lowers his shoulder. I love watching him run.
Yeah.
Two, I thought the tight ends blocked their butts off. A lot of including that touchdown, by the way, Barner and Saubert were excellent on top blocking. Three, how bad are the Eagles that they couldn't move the ball on this team? Sorry, Eagles fans. I don't mean to catch you to say, but like.
So maybe they don't want to hear it from you, but I'm sure they're saying the same thing. I texted Charlie in the course of the game and was like, man, the Eagles are lucky. They are lucky they didn't make it to this round, because this would have gotten real bad. It would have got like that defense against that offense. Yeah, would have gotten really bad. But yeah, I guess they wouldn't have let it get bad because they don't try to do much. But yeah, we can get off the Eagles. But yeah, this 49ers defense is. Which I mean,
look, we know
you can go back to the Seahawks too. Like the Seahawks, what the hell were you doing in that final game against the 49ers and you could barely score?
Well, they weren't scoring touchdowns. That's what happened. They missed field goals, and they were in both regards better in this game, both running the ball and Darnold obviously didn't have to do much. He was 12 for 17 for 124 yards, but there was a lot of question marks about his ability to throw the ball. And like I thought, like that touchdown he threw to JSN where he was rolling left and it was a beautiful throw and catch. That was, to me, like really impressive given the injury. Like to do that, to roll your left, reset and throw that ball really hard. Obviously,
that's not the problem, though.
What's the next day? This week?
Yeah, that's oh yeah. As Kyle Shanahan said, yeah, when that Toradol kick in, you're fine. Oh, it was the next day. It was Monday morning that my man was feeling terrible.
He did everything that he had to do in this game, everything that the question marks around him, which was, can you? No, you don't think so?
No, I mean
in this game.
He couldn't have done the major thing that is the strike against him is big moments. It's clutch situations. It's important games. Like
you mean because but like that when he hit JSN, the game wasn't out of hand yet. I know my point is just that like obviously, look, I'm comparing it to week 18 where like the defense was just as good, but the offense was not as effective. In this one, they were like efficient and
12 for 17, 124 and a tud.
Hit a few good throws. Hit Cup on who's quietly become decent for them. You got Rashid Shaheed on special teams doing his speed running the Percy Harvin Seahawks career.
Yeah, it is.
So like we'll talk a lot about the Seahawks moving forward. As far as the Niners go, like it's this is not like we come out of all these teams with losses asking like, what are the Texans going to do about CJ Stroud? What are the Bills going to do about their roster? There's zero questions about the Niners. They were just too injured by the end, and it showed. I think offensively, though, against the Seahawks team in particular, because they're going to be a problem for them moving forward, they got to figure out a way to run the football better than they did this year. And that has to be a priority for them next season, this offseason.
For sure. I mean, it's not a record that I keep track of, but I can't imagine that there's been too many coaches or too many coordinators to get head coaching jobs off of giving up so many points in an important game like Robert Saleh. I know it's because of injuries and all that stuff, but it's kind of weird to be like the next day, hey, look at our defensive head coach just gave up. Well, I guess he didn't give up 41 because there was a special team touchdown.
That's what they think of the roster, I guess.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a good assessment. That's a good way to assess the roster.
Yeah, I know. If they had lost to the Eagles, he would have come off of a real high. But then I think it turns out that was more about the Eagles. Okay, sorry, Eagles fans. That's it for this week. I will be, of course, back with Ben to preview the championship games, talk about all the coaching hires. We might even get a couple more. I'll be joining Domonique Foxworth's show later in this week. That comes out on Friday, right? Or Thursday?
Right? Comes out on Friday. Tape on Thursday.
Tape on Thursday, right? Okay, so go check out
show.
Oh, and Domonique Foxworth live in San Francisco. All the Niners fans who I'm sure absolutely loved that last segment. Good job.
Yeah, Mina will be there, so you can yell at us in person.
What's the information for that show?
It's Thursday, something. I don't know. I hate promoting. Thanks, Mina, for having me on the show.
Your website, like, come on.
I don't know. I'll send you the link or something at some point. I'm bad at this.
Foxworth live show. I'm not letting you off right now. Domonique Foxworth live pod. I'm sure there's a website.
I don't know. I haven't gotten it if it is.
Useless.
That's me.
FoxworthPodLive.com. Go check it out. All right, guys.
My dog. Appreciate you. Always got my back.
Bye.